The wind screamed like a ghost across the white, frozen land. Snow covered everything. Mountains of ice stood tall, and the ground below was hard and silent. There was no sign of life, no movement. Only the sound of wind like a sad cry. Eli walked slowly, one step at a time. His boots crunched the snow beneath him. His face was half covered with a scarf, his eyes scanning the frozen desert. He was a scavenger, a human explorer. His ship had crash-landed here 2 days ago. Power was low and parts were broken. Now he searched for metal or energy cells buried in the old snow. "This place is dead," he whispered, wiping frost from his helmet screen. He pointed his scanner to the ground. Beep, beep, beep. A weak signal blinked. Maybe old tech buried below? He started digging with his cold hands, then grabbed his small plasma cutter. Ice melted slowly. Suddenly he froze. A sound. Faint. Weak. Like a voice. He dropped the cutter and leaned down. His ear pressed to the ground. "Please, help!" Eli jumped back. He wasn't sure. Was it in his head? Was he going mad? The sound came again. This time clearer. A soft, shaky whisper. "We're still here." Eli's heart pounded. He had traveled many strange worlds, seen alien ruins and heard many things, but this was different. He dropped to his knees and began digging fast. His fingers were numb. Ice hit his face. Still he dug. Minutes passed. Then his hand touched something hard, smooth, not rock. It was glass. He brushed more snow away. A clear pot appeared, shaped like a long egg. Inside, he saw something, not something, someone. 3 girls, small, alien, lying inside, eyes closed. Skin pale blue, lips purple from cold. But they weren't frozen. The glass was thick and lights blinked softly inside. Life support. Eli checked the panel. Words in a strange alien language flickered. But he saw one word blinking red. Failure. His breath caught. Suddenly, one of the girls moved her fingers. Very small, very slow, but it was real. He knelt beside the pod, panic and shock mixing inside him. "Hey, can you hear me?" he said. The smallest girl's eyes opened a little. Glowing silver eyes full of fear. "You're safe now," Eli said, voice soft. "I won't let you die." The girl stared at him. Her lips moved, but no sound came. Then her mouth whispered something strange. Smelled different, human. Her eyes closed again. Eli pressed buttons on the pod. He didn't understand the language, but years of dealing with alien tech gave him a sense of what was what. He hit the emergency override. Click. The pod unlocked with a hiss. Warm vapor escaped. The air smelled like chemicals. Eli carefully lifted the 3 girls out one by one. They were light like feathers. Their skin was smooth but cold. He wrapped them in thermal blankets and rushed back toward his ship. As he walked, the wind grew stronger. Snow blew into his face. He could barely see. His ship sat in a small rocky cave. He dragged the girls inside, laid them on his bed, and connected the life support packs. His AI beeped. Unknown species detected. Vital signs low. All 3 appeared genetically modified. Warning, infertility markers detected. Eli frowned. Infertile? Modified? The AI continued. Experimental type. Possibly abandoned. DNA signature suggests they were created. Created? Abandoned? Why? Eli looked at the smallest girl again. She looked peaceful now, but a tear rolled down her cheek. What kind of people would bury children alive under snow? The AI beeped again. Signs of cryogenic stasis. Purpose unknown. Ethical violation suspected. Eli sat down beside the bed. His hands shook. Not from cold, but from anger. They weren't meant to survive, he said. He stared at the snow outside, but they did. He looked at the girls again, then whispered to himself, "And I'm going to find out why." Outside, the wind howled louder, but inside the cave for the first time, there was warmth, and the snow no longer cried alone. Eli couldn't sleep that night. The cave walls were quiet and the heater made a soft humming sound. But his mind was full of questions. He sat near the sleeping alien girls, watching the slow rise and fall of their chests. They were still weak but alive. He checked the life monitor. Stable but very low energy, the AI said. Body temperature rising slowly. Eli stared at the smallest girl. Her face was soft. She looked no older than 12 in human years. Her hand twitched once, then went still. "What were you doing under that snow?" Eli whispered. "Why would anyone leave you there?" Suddenly, the middle sister opened her eyes, silver and bright. She sat up fast, coughing. Her body shook. Eli rushed over. "Hey, you're okay?" "You're safe," he said, holding her shoulder gently. She stared at him, breathing fast. Then she hissed, "Don't touch me." Eli backed away. "All right." "No touching." She looked around, saw the cave, the blankets, the machine, the heat. Then she saw her sisters. She crawled to them, touched their faces, checked their pulses. Her hand pressed lightly against their cheeks. A deep breath escaped her lips, half relief, half sorrow. "Who are you?" she asked, not turning. "My name is Eli. I'm human. My ship crashed here. I found your pod under the ice." She looked over her shoulder. "How long?" "Were we asleep?" Eli shook his head. "I don't know." The pod didn't say. She whispered something in her own language, then turned back. "You should have left us." Eli blinked. "What? Why?" She stood slowly, her legs weak but her eyes strong. "We were meant to stay buried, to disappear. We were broken, failed." Eli frowned. "Failed? You're alive." "That's not failure," she laughed bitterly. "You don't understand. We are test subjects, created in a lab, designed to be mothers of the future. But none of us could bear life. No wombs, no hope, just 3 broken shells." Eli stepped closer. "But why bury you alive?" The girl looked him in the eyes. "Because failure brings shame, and shame must be erased." She sat back down, suddenly tired. "We were not born. We were built. In a station orbiting this planet. Thousands of girls like us. Only a few survived the tests, and we were useless to them." The smallest sister stirred, coughing weakly. "She's waking," Eli said, moving forward. "No," the girl warned. "She doesn't trust easily." "I just want to help," he said softly. "You already helped more than anyone ever did," she whispered. "But help often brings pain later." Eli turned to the AI. "Scan the pod remains again. I want answers." A small drone floated out, flew to the snowy spot where the pod was dug up. Minutes later, the drone returned. The AI spoke, confirmed. "Cryogenic life pod, Model 9X Beta, designed for long-term burial. Code matches Project Mother Seed, marked as failed experiment." Eli repeated the name. "Project Mother Seed." "Yes," the girl said. "That was the name of the dream. They wanted to restart their dying race, but we were their last hope. When we couldn't reproduce, they chose to erase the memory of us." Eli's eyes narrowed. "Who are they?" "What species?" The girl looked up. "You call us Arcanian. To you, we're myths. Long dead, but we're not. We're just forgotten." Outside, the wind blew harder. The eldest sister finally opened her eyes. She was silent. She simply looked around, saw her sisters, and then saw Eli. Her gaze was sharp, ancient almost, as if she had lived more than her body allowed. "You woke us," she said calmly. Eli nodded. "Yes, I did. You'll be hunted for this." Eli blinked. "By who?" "The ones who buried us," she said, sitting up. "If they find out we live, they will return." Eli stood tall. "Then I'll be ready." The cave felt colder again. The sisters stared at the man who had dug them from a frozen coffin. A stranger, a human, and yet the only one who saw them as more than failed science. "Why would you help us?" the middle sister asked. Eli gave a sad smile. "Because no one deserves to be buried alive. For being born different." The silence was deep after that. For the first time, the 3 sisters sat together, awake, and not alone. Far above, in the sky, something blinked red. A satellite eye, watching, recording, transmitting, and somewhere in space, someone had just received the signal. "Mother Seed protocol breach detected. Send retrieval unit." Morning came, though the sun barely shone through the thick gray clouds. Outside the cave, the wind screamed across the frozen world. Inside, the fire burned softly, throwing golden light on 4 faces, 1 human and 3 alien. Eli sat by the heater, sharpening a broken metal piece. His hands were steady, but his mind wasn't. He could feel the weight of what he'd done, waking something that was never meant to wake again. The smallest sister lay sleeping, her breathing slow. The middle one, who had spoken most, was awake now, staring at the heater's glow like she'd never seen fire before. The eldest sat quietly in the corner, her face calm but unreadable. Eli broke the silence. You said your name was—" The middle one turned her head. "Lyra," she said softly.
"The little one is Saren, and she—"
She pointed to the eldest. "Is Kayla. She was the first they made." Kayla's eyes opened slowly. Her silver pupils glowed faintly in the dim light. "You speak too much, Lyra," she said in a cold tone. Lyra's lips tightened. "He deserves to know." Kayla's gaze turned to Eli. "No one deserves to know what we are." Eli sighed. "You're alive. That's what matters." Kayla looked at him with a strange sadness. "Alive, you call this living? We were built for one purpose, to give life. And when we couldn't, they threw us away." Eli looked at her, his jaw tight. "You were not machines. You were people. You still are." Kayla stood up slowly, her bare feet silent on the cave floor. "To you, maybe. But to them, we are broken tools." She walked to the mouth of the cave and stared out at the blinding snow. "We shouldn't be alive, human. That pod was our coffin." Eli walked beside her. "Then fate made a mistake," he said. "And I'm glad it did." Kayla didn't reply, but her fingers, trembling slightly, touched the cave wall, as if to make sure it was real. Behind them, the AI beeped suddenly. "Warning," it said. "Unidentified signal detected. Long-range scan indicates orbital surveillance. Estimated coordinates directly above this sector." Lyra gasped. "They found us." Eli rushed to the console. "Can they track inside the cave?" "Negative," said the AI, "but exposure will increase if external sensors activate." Kayla turned sharply. "Then we move now." Eli frowned. "Move? Where?" Kayla pointed toward the east. "There's a facility we run buried deep under the ice. It was once a lab long before they abandoned this world. It might still have power. And answers." Eli checked his supplies. "That's 10 kilometers in this weather." "You'll freeze." Lyra smirked weakly. "We already did once." Eli hesitated, then nodded. "Fine, we move at dusk." Hours passed slowly. Saren woke, confused but smiling when she saw her sisters alive. She looked at Eli curiously, her head tilted. "You're human," she said softly. He smiled. "That's right. You feel—" "Warm," she whispered, touching his arm. "Like light," Lyra laughed quietly. "She says that because she senses energy. She can feel life through warmth." Saren giggled. "Then you're brighter than the sun." Eli chuckled. "Let's hope it stays that way." When night came, they stepped out into the storm. The sky was dark purple, filled with blowing snow. They walked close together, wrapped in thermal blankets. Eli led the way, using his scanner to mark a safe path. Every few minutes, they stopped to rest. Lyra coughed from the cold. Kayla's skin shimmered faintly, protecting her sisters from frostbite. Eli couldn't help but notice. Their bodies were not like humans. The way their skin reflected the faint light, the way the snow melted around them slightly, it was unnatural, yet beautiful. But suddenly, the scanner beeped sharply. "Multiple contacts," the AI said through Eli's earpiece. "They're coming fast." Eli turned. In the distance, shadows moved through the storm. 6-legged drones crawling across the snow like spiders. Red eyes glowed in the dark. Kayla's voice was calm. "They sent hunters. Get down!" Eli shouted. He raised his blaster, fired a shot. A flash of blue light hit the nearest drone, melting it instantly. The sisters crouched behind a rock. Lyra's hands began to glow faintly, blue energy forming between her fingers. "What are you doing?" Eli yelled. Lyra smiled weakly. "Something they didn't know I could do." She threw the energy forward. It burst in the air like a wave of lightning. The drones froze, their systems fried. When the light faded, the snow fell silent again. Eli stared at her. "That wasn't in your DNA file." Lyra smiled faintly. "Maybe we're not as broken as they thought." Kayla stepped forward, her silver eyes burning. "They wanted us dead because they feared what we might become, and now they'll have a reason to be afraid." Eli reloaded his weapon, scanning the horizon. "Then let's make sure we give them one," he said. The 4 of them turned toward the east, into the storm, into the unknown, their shadows vanishing into the white, and far above, in orbit, a metallic voice whispered through static, "Target confirmed. 3 subjects revived. Human interference detected. Initiate elimination protocol." The old lab appeared like a ghost in the white storm. Half buried under layers of frozen dust, its tall steel towers leaned like broken bones. The letters on the door were worn away by time. But Eli could still read part of it. Archaegenesis Division. They had finally reached it after hours of walking through the deadly cold. Kayla touched the frozen door with her hand. It glowed faintly, reacting to her skin. "This was built for us," she said quietly. "Our creators once worked here." Eli brushed off the snow. "Can you open it?" Kayla closed her eyes. Lines of light spread from her palm into the metal. The old system woke with a deep hum. The doors hissed and slid open. Warm air rushed out, mixed with dust and something metallic. Inside, the walls were covered in strange symbols and dead monitors. The air smelled of old life support gas. "This place hasn't been touched in decades," Eli said. Lyra walked slowly, her fingers brushing over the dusty glass. "This is where we began," she whispered. "And maybe where we ended." Saren looked around with wide eyes. "It feels sad," she said softly. "Like the walls remember crying." Eli's scanner blinked. "Energy source still active, might be deep below," he said. "Maybe we can find answers down there." Kayla nodded. "Let's go." They moved through long hallways filled with broken machines and frozen lab coats. Many rooms were sealed behind glass, some with dark shapes floating in green fluid. Eli tried not to look too closely. After a while, they reached a large chamber. In the center was a massive glass cylinder, cracked but still glowing. Inside was a swirling blue mist connected to hundreds of cables. The AI in Eli's suit beeped sharply. "Warning. Genetic archive detected. System ID womb protocol." Eli frowned. "What's that?" Kayla stepped closer. "That was the final experiment," she said slowly. "The one that decided our fate." Lyra clenched her fists. "They said it would make us perfect. But it only made us empty." Eli turned to his AI. "Access the archive." The screen flickered, showing old recordings, voices of alien scientists. "Subject batch 9 failed again. No viable reproductive cells. Begin sequence. Womb protocol. Mix synthetic base with genetic strand 47, human. Human DNA? That's impossible. We have no choice. Their species breeds fast, adapts fast, maybe. It's the key." The recording ended. Silence filled the lab. Eli's breath stopped. "Human DNA?" he said quietly. Kayla's eyes widened slightly. "So, that's why you woke us." Lyra stared at Eli. "Your presence activated the pod." Saren tilted her head. "Because he's the missing part?" Eli felt his heart beating fast. "Wait, you mean my blood matches your DNA?" Kayla walked closer to him, her expression unreadable. "Not just matches. It completes it." Before Eli could speak, the womb protocol chamber began to hum. The blue mist inside grew brighter. The screens came alive, showing strange codes and flashing text. "Hybrid sequence detected. Activation chain complete." The lights flickered. The ground shook. Eli yelled, "What's happening?" Kayla looked up, her eyes glowing silver. "It's recognizing you. It's running the protocol again." A robotic voice echoed through the lab. "Initiating genetic restoration. Input source human sample required." Eli turned pale. "It wants my blood." Lyra grabbed his arm. "If you give it, we don't know what it will do." Kayla's face turned serious. "If we stop it now, we lose everything. If we continue, we might find the truth." Eli hesitated. He looked at the three sisters, broken, lost, forgotten. He thought of how he found them under the snow, how their small hands had clung to life. He took a deep breath. "Do it." He cut his palm with his knife and pressed it to the sensor. His blood dripped into the glowing slot. The light turned crimson, then pure white. The machine roared. Data flooded the screens. The sisters gasped as energy pulsed through the room. The AI spoke in a cold tone. "Hybrid activation at 23%, 45%, 60%. The sisters fell to their knees. Their bodies shone with light, veins glowing faintly gold. Saren whispered, trembling. "It's warm." "Inside." Lyra held her chest. "I can feel something alive again." Kayla stood still, her eyes wide. For the first time, her voice broke. "It's repairing us, rewriting our code." Then the screen flashed red. "Warning, unauthorized activation. External interference detected," Eli shouted. "What now?" The AI responded, "Incoming transmission from orbit." Command override initiated. A deep robotic voice echoed from the speakers. "Unauthorized subject interaction. Terminate all survivors." Eli grabbed his weapon. "They found us again." Kayla looked at him, her face calm but fierce. Then we fight, for the life they stole from us. Lyra's eyes burned bright blue. For the first time, we can fight as women, not failures. Saren's small voice trembled, but she smiled. For the future, the womb protocol chamber exploded in light, and the storm outside began to scream like the planet itself was waking up. The ground shook. Ice fell from the ceiling. The lab lights blinked wildly as sirens echoed across the deep chambers. Red lights danced on the walls like fire. Eli looked up at the sky dome above the control room. A dark shadow passed across it and widened fast. "They're here," Kayla said. Her voice was calm, but her fists were clenched. Eli ran to the nearest screen. The AI showed a map. A ship had entered the atmosphere. Not just any ship. It was huge, shaped like a scorpion, and carried the mark of the Arcadian High Council. Lyra stared at it, fear in her eyes. They didn't just send drones this time. They sent enforcers. Eli gritted his teeth. Then we hold them off. Whatever this protocol did to you, it gave you strength. You're not broken anymore. Kayla's eyes burned silver. They buried us. Now they'll learn we didn't stay dead. Suddenly, the wall burst open with a crash. 3 tall, armored figures stepped in, each one covered in black plates, glowing red lines running across their bodies. They had no faces, just helmets with burning red eyes. The one in front spoke in a robotic voice. "Human, you are guilty of contaminating restricted genetic property." "Step aside," Eli raised his blaster. "Come take me then." The enforcer raised his arm, a cannon unfolded. But before he could fire, a blast of blue energy shot from Lyra's hand and slammed into the wall, throwing sparks everywhere. Saren screamed and dove behind a console. Kayla moved like lightning, grabbing Eli and pulling him to safety. "Get to the back lab," she shouted. "There's a tunnel that leads outside." "But we have to stop them," Eli yelled. Kayla turned to him with fierce eyes. "We will, but not by dying here." The sisters moved like a unit. Kayla charged the enforcers, her body glowing bright with power. She struck one with a punch that cracked his chest plate and sent him flying across the room. Lyra covered them with energy shields, blocking plasma shots. Eli grabbed Saren and ran toward the back. As he looked over his shoulder, he saw Kayla glowing like a star, fighting 3 enforcers at once, her voice a growl of rage. They entered a narrow tunnel, dark and cold. The AI spoke in Eli's ear. "The womb protocol data has been fully uploaded to your system." "Backup secure." "Good," Eli said. "If we die, they don't get it." Outside, the storm had returned. Snow and lightning clashed in the sky. The Scorpion ship landed with a heavy thud, legs spreading across the ice like claws. Dozens of drones swarmed out, scanning the snow. Searching, Eli and the girls exited the tunnel on the far side of the lab hill. He ducked behind a rock. "We need to get to my ship." "It's still in the cave. Maybe we can launch." "Your ship is half broken," Lyra said, coughing. "I've flown worse," Eli muttered. Kayla appeared beside them, her arm bleeding but her face calm. "I broke 2 of their necks," she said. "But more are coming." Saren looked scared. "They'll kill us." Eli knelt beside her. "Not if I breathe. Not if I stand. I'm not letting anyone bury you again." Suddenly, one of the drones flew close. It spotted them, a red light flashing. It beeped an alert. Eli raised his gun. Before he could fire, Saren stepped forward, eyes glowing. She placed her hand on the drone's metal shell. The drone stopped. Its red light turned blue. Everyone froze. "Saren?" Lyra asked. Saren smiled softly. "I heard its voice. It didn't want to hurt us." The drone turned and flew back toward the ship, but this time it scanned other drones, blasting one in midair. "She reprogrammed it?" Eli asked in shock. Kayla stared at her youngest sister. "No, she spoke to it, her gift." His control, Eli stood up. "We're not running anymore," he tapped his wrist. "AI, send all data from the womb protocol to every known channel in the galaxy. Let everyone see what these monsters did." "Transmission started," the AI replied. The Scorpion ship fired a beam toward the ground, carving a trench in the snow and getting ready to destroy the lab. Eli looked at the sisters. "This ends now," Kayla nodded. "Let's give them a reason to remember us." Together, they walked into the storm, the human and the once-forgotten alien sisters. And above them, across the galaxy, screens flickered with the truth. Project Mother Seed. The Arcadians buried them, but they woke, and now they rise. Snow blew across Eli's face as he sprinted down the icy hill, his breath fogging in the cold air. Behind him, the alien sisters ran close. The sky above glowed red as the enemy ship hovered like a black storm cloud, dropping more drones with each passing minute. But Eli didn't stop. He had one plan left: get to the cave, get to the ship, fly, or die trying. Kayla's voice came through the comm. "We're being followed, 3 drones behind us, high speed." "I'll hold them off," Lyra shouted, turning back. Her palms glowed with swirling blue energy. With a sharp cry, she fired a blast that lit up the snow like lightning. 2 drones exploded in the air. The third dodged, zipping down toward Saren. Eli aimed his blaster and shot it mid-air, then caught Saren as she slipped. "You okay?" Saren nodded. "They're scared of us now." Kyla ran beside them, her face cold and focused. They should be. At last, they reached the cave entrance. Eli's damaged ship sat inside, its panels still open from repair work. He activated the power core. The lights flickered to life, engines whining softly. "We've got 60% power," he said. "Enough to fly. Not enough to fight." The sisters climbed inside. Kayla stood near the cockpit looking out toward the snow. "They're not done yet," she said. "They'll follow us anywhere now." Eli looked at her. "Then we go somewhere they can't reach." But just as he spoke, the AI beeped loudly. "Alert. Unauthorized biological scan initiated." "What?" Eli frowned. "From where?" The AI continued. "Source internal. Scanning pilot DNA. Match confirmed. Subject contains dormant Arcadian seed fragment. Origin mother seed protocol. Hidden file unlocked." Kayla turned sharply. "What did it say?" Eli stood frozen. "My DNA has a seed fragment?" The screen lit up, showing a glowing code chain. Part human, part alien. Lyra gasped. "They used you. Before you were even born." Kayla stepped forward. "It explains everything. Why the pod opened when you touched it. Why our bodies reacted to you. Why the womb protocol reactivated." Eli swallowed hard. "You're saying I was part of their plan?" Kayla looked at him with deep eyes. "Not just part. You were the key. A carrier. A silent code hidden in your blood. Passed from generation to generation, waiting." Saren's soft voice broke the silence. "Then does that mean we can't live without him?" The room went quiet. Kayla turned away. "No, it means something worse." Eli's voice was low. "What?" Kayla stared at the screen. "It means one of us must bond with you. Not just emotionally, but genetically. Merge cells. Only then will the mother seed line become stable." Eli stepped back. "You're talking about breeding?" Kayla nodded slowly. "Yes, a union. Not forced, not now. But eventually. Otherwise, our restored power will fade. We'll become infertile again, and next time no one will dig us out." Lyra looked at Eli. "We were never supposed to choose, but maybe now we can." Eli paced the floor. The weight of this truth pressed on his chest. His blood had awakened them. His body carried the cure. But what if he refused? Would they die again? Kayla approached him. "You didn't ask for this." "Neither did we. But fate stitched our paths together." He looked at her. "So now what? I pick one of you?" Kayla's face softened. "No, you earn one of us." Suddenly the ship shook. A missile exploded outside. "The Scorpion ship was back. We need to go now." Lyra shouted. Eli jumped into the pilot's seat. "AI, prepare for vertical launch." Engines roared. The ship lifted, shaking, climbing through the stormy air. Outside, enemy fire chased them like angry lightning. Inside the cockpit, Saren sat close to Eli. She held his hand. "Even if you were part of their plan, you saved us. That makes you more than their tool." Eli didn't speak. His heart beat fast. Not from fear, but from the truth now running through his veins. The AI spoke again. "Hybrid core unlocked. Full fusion possible. Awaiting consent," Eli whispered. "Not yet, but soon." Kayla looked at him. "Then let's live long enough to make that choice." The ship broke through the clouds. Above them, stars spread across the sky, but behind them, death was following, and in front of them was the unknown. The stars above were quiet, but Eli's ship was not. Alarms screamed. Warning lights blinked red across the cockpit. The damage was worse than he thought. Engines were hot. Fuel was low, and the Arcadian warship was still chasing them like a shadow from the past. Kayla looked at the scanner. "They're gaining fast. We can't outrun them. We don't need to." Eli said calmly. We just need one place to land. One chance. He pointed to a small moon ahead, mostly frozen but showing heat signals underground. Lyra narrowed her eyes. Another ice world? Eli smiled faintly. Seems fitting. He turned the ship sharply. The sisters held on as the craft dove toward the moon's surface. Behind them, the enemy ship fired again, missing by inches. Brace! Eli shouted. The ship hit the ground hard. Ice cracked beneath it. Snow exploded into the air. Sparks flew inside the cabin and the lights died. For a moment, everything went silent. Eli opened his eyes. Everyone okay? A few coughs. A groan. I'm fine, Lyra said, sitting up. I'm not frozen yet, Kayla muttered. Saren gave a tiny thumbs up from under a broken chair. Still breathing, Eli stood slowly. We have one last chance. The transmission I sent from the lab, it reached someone. A signal bounced back. Kayla raised an eyebrow. Who? I don't know. But they said one word. Coming. Before anyone could answer, the sky outside lit up. The Arcadian warship descended. Its huge legs dug into the ice. From its belly, a ramp opened and dozens of enforcers marched out in perfect silence. Eli opened the hatch. Cold air hit his face like a slap. He stepped out, gun in hand, and stood between the sisters and the enemy. This ends now, he said. Kayla walked up beside him. Together, Lyra took his other side. For what they stole. Saren stepped forward too, small but brave. For what we'll build, the enforcers stopped. Their leader walked out, taller than the rest. Its voice echoed like metal scraping metal. You will surrender the hybrids and the carrier. Eli's voice was strong. You buried them like broken tools. Now they stand. And I stand with them. The leader raised its arm. Then you all die. But just before it fired, the sky cracked. A roar thundered through the clouds. A massive black and gold ship dropped from orbit, its engines burning blue fire. It wasn't Arcadian. It was human. Eli's eyes widened. That's Earth tech. The enemy turned to fire, but it was too late. Missiles rained down. Explosions lit the snow. Drones scattered. Enforcers were blasted into pieces. From the new ship, soldiers in sleek armor jumped out moving fast, firing with perfect aim. The Arcadian leader tried to run. Kayla leapt forward, grabbed its head, and crushed its helmet with her glowing hands. Silence fell. The snow stopped blowing, and for the first time, the ice began to melt. Steam rose from the ground. The cold was breaking. Eli dropped to his knees, exhausted. A soldier ran to him. Sir, we received your broadcast. Project Motherseed. It's all over the network now. The galaxy knows. Kayla stepped forward, her skin glowing warm gold in the light. Then we are no longer shadows. Lyra helped Saren walk forward. The little one looked up at the rising sun. It's warm. Like Eli. Eli looked at his hand. The cut was gone. His blood had healed faster than it should have. The soldier turned to him. You've changed, sir. The fusion altered your DNA. Eli didn't answer right away. He looked at the sisters, each one glowing with life. He had not just saved them. He was part of them now. Kayla walked closer. You don't have to choose now. But when you do, it will shape more than a future. It will shape a species, Eli smiled. I already chose, he reached out. Kayla took his hand. Lyra touched his arm gently. Saren leaned her head on his side. They weren't just survivors anymore. They were founders. The wind blew gently now. Snowflakes melted in the air. Far above, the stars blinked, watching the birth of something new.